Talk about a fried egg. I lasted about 5 minutes out there. I said, to heck with this. I'll do this in the morning. And I don't have any inside information. The lady that did it, she got in there. She made it happen.
And he doesn't shy away from opinion.
And I do enjoy drinking cold beer at ballparks. So if that makes me a baseball fan, then I'm a diehard baseball fan.
It's Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
And a very good Tuesday evening to you, Jacksonville. It is Hacker After Dark, 1010XL, 92.5 FM with Dylan Denmark. The Hacker Ryan Green with you. Glad you are with us. A Tuesday night that finds us one day closer to the Jaguars heading out to the desert. The third time heading out west this year to the Pacific time zone where they will take on the Arizona Cardinals. Of course, they already went out there and beat San Francisco. They already went out there and beat Las Vegas. They will now go out there to Phoenix, Glendale, and they will take on a wounded Arizona Cardinal football team, an Arizona Cardinal football team that actually started the year 2-0, but has lost 7 of their last 8 games. So we'll begin to preview Arizona. We'll really start diving into them tomorrow. I'll be down at the Miller Electric Center tomorrow afternoon inside the Jaguar locker room as the guys report back for the week to get ready for Arizona Sunday, 4 o'clock. Of course, you'll hear the game right here on 1010XL. So we will talk Jaguars tonight, both looking ahead to Arizona, but certainly looking back again on the best performance of the year. That game against Los Angeles, I watched it one more time, or watched most of it one more time today. Just a beating. You know, it's as beautiful watching it the second time as it was watching it live. And we'll recap it with a couple of coaches. Gerald Ingram, you get him every Sunday with me on the fifth quarter. And, of course, Leon Searcy. So the coach, Gerald Ingram, joins us in the 9 o'clock hour. We will also do a little Jaguar X's and O's here later on in the 8 o'clock hour with Mark Duffner. 50 years coaching experience for Coach Duffner, both collegiately and in the National Football League. So a lot of coaching tonight with Mark Duffner and Gerald Ingram. The College Football Encyclopedia, Mike Huguenin. The man's been covering it for years. He's going to stop by later on in the program. But we're going to begin in about 10 minutes, 15 minutes or so with my guy in Oxford, Mississippi. I've had Brad Logan on for years. I used to work with Brad when we both worked for a website called Gridiron Now. I was the recruiting guy. He was the guy that covered Ole Miss for that website. That goes back 9, 10 years. He's been covering them a lot longer than that. He's now with On3. He's also the host of the Believe in Ole Miss podcast. And he's boots on the ground in Oxford as the Lane Kiffin just soap opera that this is turning into between Oxford, Mississippi, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and, of course, Gainesville, Florida. So we know what our opinion is. What's going on out in Oxford when it comes to Lane Kiffin? What are the natives saying about their guy flirting with the enemy amidst a playoff run for Ole Miss? We'll talk with Brad Logan coming up in Oxford, Mississippi in about 15 minutes or so. We are absolutely loaded. We are with you till 10 o'clock. As always, Jacksonville, we are glad you are spending part of your Tuesday evening with us. Every night here on Hacker After Dark, we do kick it off with a big deal of the night. And Dylan Denmark, let's do that right now.
Time now for the big deal of the night.
What's the big deal?
What is the big deal?
No, because it is a big deal.
On Hacker After Dark.
You know, when I was growing up as a young man back in middle school, my mother used to watch certain programs like As the World Turns, right? Guiding Light. Denmark, either one of those ring a bell for you, or is that before
Negative.
your time?
You're way too old for that jump.
You know, As the World Turns was good. I actually was a fan of Guiding Light back in the day. And these were daytime soap operas. You know, it was appointment viewing for my mother, and I would watch it every once in a while. But this is going back 25, 30 years. What this Lane Kiffin situation is turning into is a modern day 2025 soap opera. It is turning into a reality television show. Look, Oxford, Mississippi, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Gainesville, Florida. We know Lane Kiffin will be coaching at one of those places in 2026. We're not exactly sure where yet. The longer this goes, though, people think, well, it seems bad for Ole Miss the longer it goes. I do wonder if that is just Gator fans here listening to Hacker After Dark tonight that are trying to make themselves feel better about the situation. I am of the opinion the longer this goes, the better it might be for Ole Miss. And I'll tell you why. Lane Kiffin has had every opportunity to say, I'm staying at Ole Miss, right? He's had an opportunity after the Gator game on Saturday at the press conference, Pat McAfee show today, anytime he wants to post something on Twitter, social media, but he hasn't done it yet. And why hasn't he done it yet? Well, one would think that maybe he's legitimately torn, or maybe he already has a deal with LSU or a deal with Florida. And that could very well be. And that's kind of was my line of thinking really up until the last 24 hours. And could he still come to LSU? Could he still come to Florida? Sure. He definitely still could. We don't know what the guy's thinking. But he is the star of the ball right now. His name is in bright lights all over the college football world. The college football playoff rankings are being released right now, and we'll get to those in a moment. And I don't even know if that's as big a story as where Lane Kiffin is going to coach in 2026. You know, Lane Kiffin's had 15 minutes of fame. That's what happens when you're a Tennessee coach and a Southern Cal coach. And remember the Oakland Raiders back in the day, and now, you know, Florida Atlantic and certainly Ole Miss. The guy's traveled. He certainly has had his name in spotlight before. Some people just like that sort of thing. Lane Kiffin likes this sort of thing. Everybody's talking about Lane. And the moment that he says, I'm staying at Ole Miss, or the moment he says, I'm leaving Ole Miss and going here, there, or wherever, some of that spotlight will go away. It's no longer a story. But the longer that the silence continues, it's a story. Pat McAfee show today. Everybody tunes into the Pat McAfee show because he's got Lane Kiffin on. Well, the one newsworthy thing was Lane Kiffin said, yeah, there was no ultimatum given. That's false. All right, I'll take him at his word on that. I still don't really believe that because Ole Miss has to find out sooner rather than later. Maybe they already know, and they're fine with what they know. So I don't believe, maybe there wasn't a, quote, ultimatum, but Ole Miss has got to find out sooner rather than later to figure out what they're going to do moving forward if Lane leaves. As long as this goes, or the longer this goes, I am starting to believe that Lane Kiffin is not leaving Oxford, Mississippi. Because the moment that he gets in front of a camera or gets on social media, all the attention from LSU and all the attention from Florida, blue bloods, man. You want to talk about college football royalty, numerous national championships between the Tigers and the Gators. And if Lane Kiffin were to turn both of those jobs down, knowing how publicly both schools have gotten in wanting his services, if he turns both of those schools down and gets in front of a camera and says, see, I turned down LSU and I turned down Florida because I want to stay right here at Ole Miss, the best job in college football, or whatever verbiage he will use, that will be a powerful thing. Powerful thing. Is that the direction he's going to go? How loyal is Lane Kiffin? Well, in the past, he hasn't been very loyal. Who gave him his shot, right? Remember when he was the coach at Florida Atlantic? It was the only job he could get. Nobody was going to hire him, even after he was the OC at Alabama. He had to take Florida Atlantic after what happened with Tennessee and what happened with Southern Cal. Who gave him his opportunity? Ole Miss. Look at what he's done with that program because he was given that opportunity. Gator fans, here's what I'm telling you. Any LSU fans listening, here's what I'm telling you. Is it my opinion that Lane Kiffin is absolutely not going to be coaching in Baton Rouge or Gainesville next year? No, of course not. I don't think anybody has clarity. No matter the sources, no matter who's tracking what airplane, or whose representatives are here, or whose son is touring a high school there, and all these rumors, all this scuttlebutt, Lane, the Lane train, everything that's gone on to this soap opera / reality TV show in the last couple of weeks in Baton Rouge and Gainesville and in Oxford, other than Lane Kiffin and probably Jimmy Sexton at this point, his agent, I don't think anybody has 100% certainty as to what's going to happen here. But it's my opinion that the longer this goes, the better it is for Ole Miss. If you're Florida and you're LSU, are you going to risk going through December and into January without some sort of clarity? I don't know. Is Lane Kiffin worth waiting that long for? But then, what if Lane Kiffin goes on a run in the playoff? Is he going to leave Ole Miss if he gets them to the semifinals? Is he going to leave Ole Miss if he gets them to the college football national title game? Is he going to leave Ole Miss if he wins the national championship? Doubtful. Ole Miss, to me, has to be the betting favorite here. Has to be. I don't have him as 100% lock that they're going to have Lane Kiffin services in 2026. But I'm getting closer to the point of giving them about a 60% chance. I'll put Florida at 25. And I'll put LSU at 15. That's tonight. Talk to me 24, 48, 72 hours from now, because this thing has changed a lot. My opinion was Florida up until about 24, 48 hours ago. I now think the longer this goes, the better it is for Ole Miss. It's fun, but like I told you guys last night, Gator Nation, we got to go quick here. All you guys are on the Lane train. All you guys want Lane Kiffin. The moment he says no, if that moment comes and he says no and goes back to Ole Miss, or heaven forbid he says no and chooses LSU over you, that man will be public enemy number one in Gator Nation. You know it, and I know it. It's fun now. It will not be fun if Lane Kiffin ultimately stays at Ole Miss or goes back to LSU. Your opinion on the Lane train will be vastly different then than it is right now. Let's go to Oxford, Mississippi. Brad Logan, host of the Believe in Ole Miss podcast. He's also a contributor for the OleMissOn3.com website. What are they saying in Oxford? What are they feeling in Oxford about their guy, Lane Kiffin? That's next on a Tuesday night in Northeast Florida. We're glad you're with us. It's Hacker After Dark.
Offense, defense, special teams.
Offense, defense, and special teams all contribute.
We got ourselves a roster.
After the game, pump up the Superior Plumbing Special Teams Player of the Game.
They got to match eye attention.
On 1010XL.
Bueller. Stay cooler with Bueller.
Jason, I called you about the ductwork in my attic this summer, and you totally blew me off.
I did.
My airflow is too low and my bills are too high.
I know.
There's stains on my ceiling tiles and sweating around the vents, and the mice have chewed so many holes in the ducts, I think they're getting more AC than I am.
I know.
Then how could you let me suffer all summer, Jason?
Because summer is the one time of year I just can't send my technician into someone's steaming hot attic. They'd kill me. Ductwork is hot, cramped work at the best of times. Lucky for you, those best of times are in November.
You mean like now?
Bueller Air and Plumbing can repair your old, damaged, or just plain sketchy ductwork right now when it's not too hot and not too cold.
And none of your technicians will kill you.
It's a win-win.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
Hey gang, Prosser here. When it comes time to sell your home, don't worry about any, quote, problems you think might be related, because I've got the perfect team that will keep you right on track. In fact, they've got a guarantee that you can't beat. And that is Chad and Sandy, the agents I would call to sell my home. You see why? Your home sold guaranteed or they will buy it. Need to sell now? Chad and Sandy have instant offers. Fast, easy, and stress-free. But the promise is this. Chad and Sandy guarantee your home sold at an agreed-upon price and deadline, or they will buy it. Jacksonville homes are selling, but many take months and a low price to sell. Getting top price means aggressive marketing. Chad and Sandy Newman are the Jacksonville experts who have proven systems to drive demand to sell your home. Darcy in San Jose said, I felt too isolated in my retirement. I wanted to buy in a different area, better suited for me. I spoke to several agents who didn't seem to care. I needed to find someone I could rely on. In come Chad and Sandy, and in 3 days, the home was sold. ChadandSandy.com or 904-414-6200.
It's your favorite team. It's their favorite team. Mike Dempsey and Fat Tony bring you Jaguars Today from the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios. Every weekday from 10 to noon on 1010XL.
What if you could pull up to $500,000 in cash out of your home and drop your mortgage rate to 4.99% APR? Hey, Prosper here, and right now at Loan Pronto, they've got the lowest rates in 3 years. With Loan Pronto's rapid equity loan, you can get your cash in as little as 3 days, pay off all those high-interest credit cards, and even skip your next 2 house payments. One client just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. Paid off their debt, paid off 2 car loans, saved $2,100 a month. One call, life change. There's no wait, no hard credit pull. You probably won't need an appraisal. Just fast, easy cash from your home's equity. Rates at a 3-year low. Act now. Call 914-999-1508 or visit loanpronto.com for your free instant home appraisal. See how much cash you can get today. Call 914-999-1508. See how much cash you can get today. You can also visit loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781. On approved credit, visit NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
It's happening. The event people wait for all year, Beard's Diamonds Anniversary Sale. Pickett here as the town center's only locally owned jeweler. Say hi to the Lupos when you go there. Beard celebrates 44 years at Jacksonville with huge store-wide saving. That's right, you save up to 44% on rings, earrings, bracelets, bands. Buy now and get as much as 44% off Beard's already amazing prices. Check out Beard's new collection of amazing diamond necklaces with both natural or lab-grown diamonds, or see their selection of the hottest yellow gold fashion jewelry starting under $300. And if you're getting engaged, you can get the ring of her dreams and save like never before at Beard's. Beard's Diamonds, because they're local, can run circles around those corporate chain stores. Better selection, better prices, better service, better quality. Don't settle for chain store jewelry. Get her the best at Beard's. Don't miss Beard's Diamond Anniversary Sale. Beard's Diamonds at the St. John's Town Center. Shop local. Shop Beard's.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch. Now, another great guest on the Checkmate Coatings phone line.
Hello.
Your floor's missing piece.
5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. Florida and Tennessee coming up Saturday night. You'll hear the game right here on 1010XL. Of course, everybody listening tonight could care less about the game. It's all about Lane Kiffin and where is Lane Kiffin going. Kind of a sad state of affairs for Florida football. For some reason, the 3-7 Gators are also on national TV Saturday night, which is also interesting. But let's talk about Lane Kiffin, the soap opera that this is becoming, and what's going on outside of our listening area when it comes to Lane. And with that, let's go to Oxford, Mississippi. Our guy when it comes to the Ole Miss Rebels is Brad Logan. He is the host of the Believe in Ole Miss podcast. He's also a contributor to On 3, and Brad's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Brad, how you doing, man?
Doing well. Thanks for having me on. Yeah, wild times right now in Oxford, and it'd be interesting, especially over the next couple of weeks, because Ole Miss, of course, as you pointed out, a bye week before they face Mississippi State on Friday of next week.
Brad, it's become a full-blown soap opera here in Jacksonville, spread out to Baton Rouge. I can't even begin to imagine what it's like in Oxford right now when it comes to Lane Kiffin.
Yeah, the main thing I think from an Ole Miss standpoint is that you have a leader in Keith Carter that's not going to allow this to fester like it did back in 22. Now, I know that Pat McAfee had Lane Kiffin on earlier today, and what we ultimately heard was there was not an ultimatum given by Keith Carter. Are we talking semantics at this point? Probably. But I do know that Ole Miss is going to look out for the best interest of Ole Miss. And as long as Keith Carter is in charge, they're going to make sure that Ole Miss is not hanging out in the wind, if you will. And then you start throwing in fan bases like Florida, fan bases like LSU. How long can they go without naming a coach? And the question I have to ask is if Ole Miss beats Mississippi State, they finish 11-1, a lock for the college football playoff, probably hosting. Are we talking about Lane Kiffin still the coach of the team, but may go to Florida, may go to LSU? If there's not an ultimatum in place, then Ole Miss is not going to allow Lane Kiffin to coach this team and not know they are not secure for next year, because that transfer portal window is at the beginning of December. And, oh, by the way, all the other available coaches that you would want would be at that point theoretically be gone. It's a very, very interesting time for a lot of different programs. And it's almost to the point to where we talk about the Lane train. Well, that Lane train is heading for a brick wall. The question is, what happens in between now and then? Does he stay in Oxford, which I think is a very good spot, very good chance he does that? Does he make the difference? Does he try to jump? Does he not go like in line with the administration at Ole Miss? It could get a little dicey, but as of right now, everything that we know, he's the Ole Miss head coach, and that's where things stand.
Brad Logan out in Oxford, Mississippi. He is the host of the Believe in Ole Miss podcast, also a contributor to On3. He's with us here on 1010XL in Jacksonville. I certainly compliment Pat McAfee and his guys for getting Lane Kiffin on, but from a Florida perspective and an LSU perspective, it was kind of a nothing burger to me. I guess if you're an Ole Miss guy like you, Brad, the one thing that did come out of it is Lane said there was no, quote, ultimatum given. But I'll be honest with you, man. I thought that some of the things that Pat McAfee was tossing up to him looked like that, Lane came on because he knew there wasn't going to be a lot of hard-hitting questions. I mean, it looked like kind of some softball stuff. Do you agree?
Yeah, there was really nothing of substance other than the question about the ultimatum, which it feels like to me, I'm on the outside looking in, but just kind of following this from afar. Jimmy Sexton wanted to get the word out that there was no ultimatum. I mean, that was the crux of the interview to me. The rest of it was just fluff about, he brought Kawan Lacey on, the running back for Ole Miss, but nothing was said about Florida and LSU other than Lane talking about Brian Kelly and LSU. But that it was no context of any type of jobs. That was more or less just his thoughts on the world of college football. I thought it was interesting that I was wondering what the hook was. I'll be honest with you, Ryan, if we're going to get down to brass tacks here, because he's not going on that show without a hook. And it was easy for me to decipher that hook was that Ole Miss and athletic director Keith Carter, Lane's words, did not give him an ultimatum on if he had to make a decision before the Egg Bowl. So the camp of Lane Kiffin wanted to get that out. I'll be interested to see what leaks at this point forward from a university standpoint. We'll obviously be in tune to that, but there's a lot of gamesmanship right now play. Hey, but Ryan, if you're an Ole Miss fan, you can't come away from that interview but nothing but positive thoughts, I guess, because he was so, I guess you could say, positive towards Ole Miss. I mean, he threw the Go Rebels. He talked about the Walk of Champions. He talked about the record over the last couple of years. So all still very positive in regards to Ole Miss. But make no mistake, the University of Mississippi and its administration understand the significance of, if this plays on, if Ole Miss beats Mississippi State and there's no commitment there, there's going to be some conversations had, probably uncomfortable, and I still believe, Ryan, there will be resolution sooner rather than later. And not to take it away from what Lane said, I think that resolution will come.
Brad, let me ask you the most important question that I'm wondering, and I'm sure everybody listening to our show tonight is wondering. From a Gator perspective, you can even branch this out from an LSU perspective. If Lane Kiffin wants to stay at Ole Miss, he had the option to say that on the Pat McAfee show today. He did not. Right. He had the option to say that in the post-game press conference Saturday night when he was literally asked the question after the Florida game. He did not. He could go on Twitter, because goodness gracious knows Lane Kiffin's been on Twitter enough in the last couple of weeks, and he could post that I'm coming back 2026 or post a video of him signing a contract. He has not. I mean, at a certain point where there's smoke, there's fire. He has been given opportunity after opportunity, and he hasn't said a word about returning to Ole Miss in 2026.
Not one word. And that's the reason you and I are talking. That's the reason there's so much speculation. There's so much smoke. He could end that right now. Now, he has said out of his lips in the Monday media availability, or after the game, I'm sorry, that we asked him after the Florida win. And members of the Florida media were in the room. I think one of the Florida media members asked him the question. And Lane said, we do not talk about job speculation during the season. It is a disservice to the players. That's what he said. And so by saying that, it's open-ended. By saying that, the rumors begin to swirl on Monday that his family was in both Baton Rouge and Gainesville over the last couple of days. Because of that, Jimmy Sexton, his agent, has done his job in making sure Lane's name gets dropped all these different places. And when that comes additional money, it comes additional contract negotiations, and that's just Jimmy doing his job. I found it interesting, Ryan, when the governor of Louisiana made mention that agents are a lot of the problem of this. I think problem is a kind of an interesting word. I don't know if problem is the right word. It's just part of the college coaching experience, if you will. I'm wondering if at some point do we sit down and talk about the legislation of agents throughout the country? At the end of the day, you, I, and everybody else, and the Florida fans listening, and if any Ole Miss fans are listening, everyone just kind of doesn't know. Their hands are up in the air because there's no finality. Lane could absolutely put a nail into this right now, and he hasn't done that. He could have done that on the show earlier today with Pat McAfee. He didn't do that. He could have done that with us in the media after the Florida game, after South Carolina, after the Citadel, after Oklahoma. He has not done that. As long as this goes, as long as there's no finality, the University of Mississippi has to make sure that Ole Miss is taken care of. And I feel very comfortable that under Keith Carter's leadership, he will protect the University of Mississippi. With that said, Florida, Scott Strickland, and its administration, they have to look out for themselves too. The longer this goes for Ole Miss, Brian, the longer this goes for Scott Strickland and Florida. How long is Florida willing to wait? How long is Ole Miss willing to wait? And as LSU is in the picture, how long are they willing to wait? At some point, the rubber has to meet the road, and we haven't gotten there yet.
Final moments, Brad Logan out in Oxford, Mississippi. He is the host of the Believe in Ole Miss podcast. All right, Brad, let's go rapid fire. We got about 3 minutes left. In Oxford, where you are, who are they more concerned about, Florida or LSU, when it comes to Lane Kiffin?
I think equally concerned with both because of the jobs and the significance of those jobs. I mean, you start talking about Florida, Steve Spurrier, national championships. That's a big-time deal. You talk about the familiarity with Lane and the state of Florida, with his children's mom, Layla, and her connection with Florida, the connection to the water and all of everything that Florida brings. And then you talk about LSU. You talk about Nick Saban, the national championships. Both those jobs are highly coveted throughout the country. So I think Ole Miss fans, to be honest with you, Ryan, they're equally worried about both of them. And they're great jobs in college football. And I think at some point you have to have some finality to this, and we just don't have it yet.
Maybe the best season of Ole Miss football ever. Certainly the best season, Brad, in decades and decades. And Ole Miss fans really can't enjoy it to the extent they would like because their coach is on social media every 20 minutes, almost sort of trolling people. I mean, is there going to be an issue? And I've seen message boards. I'm curious. Your boots on the ground out there. Are Ole Miss fans getting a little sick of this?
Yes, but I'll tell you this, Ryan, and this, whether you're a Gator or a Tiger or a Rebel or a Bulldog, if Lane signed an extension prior to the Egg Bowl and Ole Miss beats Mississippi State 31-13 and hosts a college football playoff game, nobody's talking about this on that college football Saturday in Oxford when the Rebels are celebrating 12-1 in Oxford. So, sure, they're upset, but that can be alleviated very quickly by one stroke of the pen and one tweet, one interview. All of that can be done. And so, sure, I mean, there's a lot of consternation, but that will be put on steroids if Lane were to take another job. But honestly, right now, all Ole Miss fans can do is just sit back and wait and hope that the team is not distracted when it takes the gridiron in a couple of days against Mississippi State next Friday.
You know, everybody's got opinions on this, Brad, as we wrap up, and certainly we won't hold you to it, but I'm curious. Again, you're a guy when it comes to Ole Miss. You're as close to that program as anybody, man. You've covered them for years. Will Lane Kiffin be the coach of Ole Miss in 2026 if you had to give me an answer today?
It's funny. I'll put a little context on it. I think the answer is yes, but I'll say this. It's not because he wants to. I think he's got a college football playoff team with an opportunity to play for a national championship on the table. He can't leave that. So I think he stays because of that reason. But if you're pinning me down, I think he'd love to be the coach of either Florida or LSU. But I think for next year, he's the coach of Ole Miss.
All right, well, that's interesting. Now, with that being said, that's certainly the topic here. Is it a timeline issues you've talked about? If Florida just said, you know what, we don't care. If you win the national championship on January 20th, we would welcome you as the head coach on January 21st. We're not going to hire anybody until you're ready to come to Gainesville. Under those circumstances, if Florida did not have a timeline, do you think Lane would come to Florida regardless?
I do, but once again, I think you get into what Ole Miss is going to do from a contractual standpoint with Lane. Do they allow him to coach that far into the season without a contract extension in hand, without a guarantee that he's the head coach in 2026 in Oxford? I don't know if that happens. I don't know if Ole Miss can allow that to happen because of the NCAA calendar and the NCAA transfer portal deadline. So that's where it gets a little grainy. Even if Florida waits, if Ole Miss has a contract extension and Lane has signed a contract with Ole Miss, and I don't know that can happen because unless he breaks his contract. I don't know about all of that because then Ole Miss is in limbo at that point. You miss the transfer window. You miss all these coaches in the 26th season. At that point would be a wash. But you know what? If Ole Miss played for a national championship, they may not care if it's a wash because that's a place this program hasn't been in a long, long time. Just absolute bonkers. It's just crazy here in Mississippi. And I don't know what's going to happen, but that's kind of where I'm leaning.
Craziness. If you want to keep track of Ole Miss and what's going on with Lane Kiffin out in Oxford, Brad Logan is your guy. Brad, tell the Florida fans listening tonight how they can find your work when it comes to this Lane Kiffin situation.
Well, I guess I'm a little different. I've had a wonderful time interjecting and engaging with Florida fans on Twitter/X. I'm at Brad Logan COTE. I encourage all Florida fans to jump on board. And we've had a lot of fun going back and forth. And I don't know if fun's the right word, but it's been interesting nonetheless. We all love the world of college football. Everybody's got a fan. Fans short for fanatic. And whether they're in Gainesville or Oxford, everybody loves college football, and everybody wants a piece of Lane Kiffin.
He is the host of the Believe in Ole Miss podcast, Brad Logan. Brad, I know you're busy. Thank you for the time. We'll talk again soon, pal.
Thanks, Ryan.
There you go, Brad Logan out in Oxford. Certainly appreciate his time tonight. And again, we'll have guests on the rest of the week. We're going to have Matt Hayes tomorrow just to see what happens. I mean, look, Ole Miss doesn't play again until a week from Friday. And then after that game, a week from Friday, that's the Egg Bowl against Mississippi State, odds are they're not going to play again for 3 weeks. And I think either the 29th, the 30th, or at the very latest, December 1st, we're going to have some idea, some clarity, certainly more than we have now about Lane Kiffin's plans in 2026. More in the world of college football coming up in the 9 o'clock hour. My guy Mike Huguenin, I call him the College Football Encyclopedia. We'll talk about the Gator coaching search. If not Lane Kiffin, then who? And we'll also talk about Mike Norvell. Do these next 2 games matter for Mike Norvell, or has a decision already been made one way or the other in Tallahassee? Back in, though, right now to the Jacksonville Jaguars. They'll be back down at the Miller Electric Center tomorrow, getting ready for a trip to the desert to take on Arizona. I'll be down there, do some one-on-one interviews. We'll bring you those conversations tomorrow night here on Hacker After Dark. Let's talk to a man with 50 years football coaching experience, both collegiately and in the National Football League. My buddy Mark Duffner. Let's review the dominating win over L.A. Let's preview a trip to the desert against Arizona. Mark Duffner joins me next right here on Hacker After Dark.
A great season often depends on keeping your best players on the field.
Let me know if he's ever going to play football again, or do I need to find me another wide receiver?
Listen for the personal injury attorneys Farah and Farah Injury Update.
Jacksonville.
Come on, you can't play without me.
On 1010XL.
Truth Teller here, and I've solved all of your holiday problems and stress. A gift card from the Blue Crab Crab House. Get this, you buy a $50 gift card, and you get an additional $15 card for free. It's that simple, and as always at the Blue Crab Crab House, the best crabs in Jacksonville, oysters and seafood, period. Blue Crab Crab House, open every day except for Monday, off of San Jose on Jewington Creek Road.
Here for the Lowe's early Black Friday deals? You're right on time for some of our biggest savings. We're talking up to 50% off select major appliances, plus up to an extra 25% off when you bundle select major appliances. Holiday lights going up soon? Select ladders are up to 50% off right now. Get Black Friday prices without the Black Friday crowds. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 11/19. Selection varies by location. Select locations only. While supplies last. See Lowe's.com for more details.
I'm Frank Franzi, and I've been telling you how proud I am of my daughter Amber, who's lost so much weight on Awaken 180. But it's been a while now, so I wonder if it's something she can maintain. So I sort of asked her, how's it going?
So far, so good, Dad. But you're right, it has been a while. But that's the beauty of the Awaken 180 plan. There's so much variety in the food choices. You don't get bored.
You look great. Do you feel better?
I feel so much better. And I know it's because of the weight loss and how it's changed my lifestyle. So there's no chance I won't sustain it.
Well, what about over the holidays? Look, you grew up in our home. And you know we love the holidays.
Oh, I still plan on enjoying the holidays. I just plan on doing it by eating right. And I've already had the conversation with my coach. She understands the challenges of the holidays, and she's guided so many folks just like me through this. We've already made a plan.
So take my kid's word for it. Awaken 180 works. It's sustainable, even over the holidays. So change your life by calling 844-346-1800 or visit awaken180weightloss.com.
Chelsea here, ready to upgrade your windows or patio doors? During Renewal by Anderson's Black Friday sales event, buy now and pay nothing until 2027. That's 0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest for 2 full years. Our Acclaim Impact windows are built for Florida homes, designed to help you save on energy bills while keeping your home comfortable all year round. Restrictions apply. Visit bestwindowsflorida.com to schedule your free in-home design consultation. License number CGC 1527613. Renewal by Anderson, where comfort meets savings.
Checkmate Coatings, your floor's missing piece. Premium flooring, take our advice. Home of business, affordable price. Driveways, pool decks, garage doors, beautiful patios, and more to explore. Checkmate Coatings, your floor's missing piece.
This is Mike Lynch, PGA Golf Professional. Take it from me, if you're dealing with an orthopedic issue, talk to the doctors at Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, where you're treated like a pro.
This is Dr. Kevin Murphy with Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, where athletes are treated like pros. Thanks to all of you who have allowed us to be part of your recovery. Call us at Southeast Orthopedic Specialists if you ever have a need.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
What if you could pull up to $500,000 in cash out of your home and drop your mortgage rate to 4.99% APR? Hey, Prosser here, and right now at Loan Pronto, they've got the lowest rates in 3 years. With Loan Pronto's rapid equity loan, you can get your cash in as little as 3 days, pay off all those high-interest credit cards, and even skip your next 2 house payments. One client just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. Paid off their debt, paid off 2 car loans, saved $2,100 a month. One call, life change. There's no wait, no hard credit pull. You probably won't need an appraisal. Just fast, easy cash from your home's equity. Rates at a 3-year low. Act now. Call 914-999-1508 or visit loanpronto.com for your free instant home appraisal. See how much cash you can get today. Call 914-999-1508. See how much cash you can get today. You can also visit loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781. On approved credit, visit NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focused, fueled, fearless, Farah. Now, another great guest on the Checkmate Coatings phone line. Hello. Your floor's missing piece.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. The Jaguars and the Cardinals coming up this Sunday at 4 o'clock. Of course, you'll hear the game right here on 1010XL. The Jaguars now 6-4 on the year after just absolutely destroying the Los Angeles Chargers on Sunday afternoon. Let's recap the dominating victory. Let's look ahead to Arizona a little bit, and let's do that with the coach. Mark Duffner, 50 years coaching experience on the gridiron, and the coach is always kind enough to join us here on Hacker After Dark. Coach, how we doing, bud?
Oh, I'm doing tremendous. Are you kidding me? I mean, after a dominating victory like the Jaguars put on the field yesterday in the stadium, how do you beat that? So it was terrific.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. And, Coach, it was so interesting because, I mean, the largest fourth quarter collapse in franchise history against Houston. Look, I think the fan base was still in a state of shock. I think, quite frankly, some of the media here, myself included, were just like, what happened? And to think they were going to come back just 7 days later, 168 little hours later, and put forth a performance like that, Coach, I don't know if anybody saw that coming.
Well, I'd say that no one did. That's for sure. I'll echo that comment. But I just think, I'm not sure. I've tried to, think through a number of years of ball, and I don't know if I've ever seen a better performance by a football team on both sides of the football. Just 60 minutes of dominant play. And as you said, coming back after a tough loss a week ago, tremendous effort by the team.
Liam Cohen, I thought, had his best game as a play caller for the Jaguars. Now, maybe that's because they had the lead early. Maybe that's because the running game was working. The penalties were not occurring. There's a lot of factors potentially, but I thought Cohen was into his bag of tricks on Sunday. I thought his game plan was fantastic.
Well, I agree with you 100%. And really, both play callers, Anthony Campanile, did a tremendous job, too. I mean, they didn't, you've got to give a lot of credit to this coaching staff and this team, the organization as a whole, because they came back. And as I said, I'm sure they looked at everything. They looked like they kind of, made it simpler in terms of what they were trying to get done. They executed with great tempo on offense. The offensive line played terrific. I mean, they won the early downs, and that's kind of a critical component in each game plan when you go offense and defense, to win the early downs and then to get manageable and winning downs on third down so you can move the ball. And they did that in an extremely successful way. So a lot of credit. I mean, outstanding game.
The coach, Mark Duffner, with us here on 1010XL in Jacksonville. Coach, the Trevor Lawrence experience was in full effect. He had the one bad head-scratching play, like he always does, the interception. But, boy, I'll tell you, after that interception, I thought the third quarter on Sunday against L.A., Coach, might have been his best quarter of football the entire year. Those two touchdown drives, one 12 plays, the other 16 plays. I mean, it doesn't get a whole lot better than what Trevor Lawrence and that offense were doing in the third quarter.
Without a doubt. I mean, you talk about flawless play, and here's how, again, they won the game. They went in with a game plan, I think, to control the ball, to run the football, to control the ball, control the clock. And I don't think I've ever seen anybody do it any better than they did in that third quarter. I mean, I think that they had 4 snaps, I think, for the Chargers in the third quarter. I think, and in fact, even in the second half, I think they got maybe 35 yards and 2 first downs in the second half. So I'm talking about the Chargers got that. You talk about controlling the clock, controlling the football, running the football, and play action pass, exceptional. And the other thing that I think they met the challenge for, you talk about, we talked all week last week about, how do you play better? How do you win the fourth quarter? Shoot, they dominated the game as far as that's concerned. 4-minute ball, you talk about that. The Jags took the ball over with 5 minutes and 2 seconds left in the fourth quarter, and LaQuinn Allen ran the thing out, just how you draw it up. So, I mean, they answered the big questions of, can you play 60-minute football? Can you play 4 quarters of football? They did it in dominant fashion.
Speaking of the dominance, I was very critical. A lot of people were very critical of the poor performance of the offensive line against Houston. I was very critical of Walker Little last week. And in the interest of fairness, you got to give them their flowers this week. The offensive line, probably their best game. Against the Charger defense, I mean, look, they had been playing pretty well. They were winners of 4 out of 5, had won 3 in a row, including beating Pittsburgh on Sunday night a week ago. But the Charger defense had absolutely no answers for that Jaguar running attack.
Oh, not even close. I mean, they averaged 5 yards a rush in the first half. I'm talking about the Jaguars did. And again, they made hay in the passing game over the middle, which when you looked at the previous games on film, that's where there were, I think the Chargers were struggling as far as that was concerned. I mean, excellent game. The offensive line dominated this game, and really both lines of scrimmage. I think that was what was kind of a focal point for the team, was that we got to win the line of scrimmage, and they did it in big fashion. There was no sacks in the game, and the Chargers, as already mentioned, defensively doing well, had 29 sacks going in. So, I mean, I think they allowed maybe our line allowed 7 pressures, way down for the Chargers. So, when you're able to have 30 first downs to 8, when you're able to, dominate third down like they did, when you're able to rush for almost 200 yards, I think they were 4.1 yards a carry. I mean, across the board, it was exceptional. And really, as you talked about before, Liam's calling the game. I mean, I thought there were a couple of tremendous calls in the game. He had what I used to call just a double screen wide delay that he threw to Munt for a touchdown. Beautiful call, beautiful play, excellent timing. And then he had the kind of a similar type play action pass off of a pitch to Patrick late in the game for the touchdown. Again, excellent calls. And so, as I said to you, I think both play callers did an outstanding job. Anthony, I think, was all over it in terms of, again, calls at timely situations, utilized his personnel well, put pressure on the quarterback, 3 sacks, allows a quarterback like Herbert, I think, to have a total of maybe 81 yards passing. Are you kidding me? What a ball game.
Couple more for the coach, Mark Duffner. Coach, I want to end with a thought on Arizona. Quickly, Jacoby Myers, a guy that you game planned for as recently as the last couple of years during your time in Cincinnati. You're obviously very familiar with him. What does it say about Jacoby Myers that he can come in here and in 10 days have 5 catches for 64 yards and lead the team in both categories?
Well, I mean, I just hats are off to the guy. We always had respect and concern for Jacoby Myers when he played because of how steady he was as a player, how smart he was as a player, and how clutch he was as a player. Those 5 catches, number of those were on third down. And, that's already a strong indicator of the confidence that Trevor Lawrence has in Jacoby, going to him in those situations when they kind of had to continue to move the ball. So tremendous addition as a person and a player to the team, and well done by James Gladstone and Baselli and all in terms of getting that addition to the squad.
Final moments with the coach, Mark Duffner. Coach, let's quickly go to your bread and butter. You mentioned the defensive side of the ball. Anthony Campanile, obviously a great game as well. And Joshua Hines-Allen certainly was called out last week. The entire defense was for that collapse in Houston. They answered the call. Hines-Allen sets the all-time Jaguars sack record, passing Tony Bracken's on Sunday. Your thoughts on a terrific Jaguar defensive performance?
Well, it started from the very beginning of the game, and they, the first half they force a punt, they allow a field goal, they force a punt, they allow a field goal, they force a punt. And then in the second half, when you give up 6 points, so Pete total 2 field goals from that offense, which is explosive as they were. Quarterback was under duress throughout the ball game. They played fast, they played physical. As I said, in the fourth quarter, excellent 2 fourth down stops in the fourth quarter by the defense, and an interception, a timely interception by Antonio Johnson, which gave great field position. They affected the quarterback throughout the ball game. And I think that, had good sudden change after the interception, too, and only allowing a field goal. So, whether it was third down defense, whether it was the front getting after the quarterback, you saw TFLs in the game. Armstead, sacked by Armstead, batted passes by Hines-Allen, the sack by Hines-Allen, as you said. Even Strigo and Green, backup players, affected the quarterback and got involved as far as that was concerned. So they won the early downs. They dominated the time of possession. That was the lowest time of possession that the Chargers have had all year. And so, I think that just again a tremendous physical game, and also with us without a lot of players, but with Strange the tight end being out, Harrison the tackle, Lewis, BTJ, these guys being out, to have that kind of performance, again, tremendous credit to the coaching staff and the players.
All right, Coach, we've been here, right? We know they respond to adversity unbelievably well. They continue to do it. Can they respond to success? They're going to be told all week again about how great they are. And in the past, when they've been told that, it hasn't really worked out the following Sunday. So can they string another dominant effort together going back to the West Coast to play Arizona on Sunday?
Well, that's going to be the challenge this week for sure. And incidentally, this Arizona team is better than advertised. I mean, they threw the ball all over the lot yesterday, against San Francisco. They had 24 first downs. I think they threw the thing. I think that, 24 first downs. They had 488 total yards of offense, 452 yards passing. I mean, they moved the ball against San Francisco, and so it is going to be a great big challenge for them. And that's where we see how this team is maturing right now, because they've met big challenges against very good football teams and won, and now they've got to just, whoever it is they're playing. We don't give a heck what jersey color they've got. It's somebody trying to beat us, and they're going to have to go out and put forth another, very strong 60-minute effort to come back with a victory against the Cardinals.
Coach, coming into this year, the Jaguars organization had won 4 games in the Pacific time zone. They've already won 2 this year, San Francisco and Las Vegas, and now they got to go back out there for a third time. That's rare that an East Coast team has to go out west for a third time, and in fact, Jacksonville will be going out a 4th time if you include Denver in that. How challenging will that be to go out to the West Coast a 3rd time in the last 7 weeks and come back with another win?
I think I'm looking at it as less and less of a challenge as far as that's concerned, really, because they've already done it twice. I think they know the routine now. They've been successful, as you mentioned, with that. And so I think that I'm actually kind of excited about the fact that they're going, because they know how to handle it. The organization's done a good job with the preparation during the course of the week. With that in mind, the travel and the time zones and all that, and been successful with it. So I think they understand the recipe for success. And I don't think it's as big a factor for this particular team and this ball club right now as maybe it would be with other teams. So I'm very confident in the preparation that they've put forth up to this point. I think the players will rely on that too. Now they just got to again put the Cardinals in the bullseye target that we've got right now, and do not get distracted by anything anybody says, anybody writes. We've got to go out and follow the game plan and go through our preparation and execute at the level that they're capable of, which they just demonstrated as good as anybody in the league has with that victory against the Chargers this past week. Yesterday. Like I said, I don't know that I've seen a more complete performance, offense and defense, and even special teams, where we didn't have to punt, where the special teams were called on just to make the extra points on the touchdowns, and certainly on the kickoffs and what have you. But just a tremendous total effort.
The coach, Mark Duffner, 50 years coaching experience, both collegiately and, of course, in the National Football League. Coach, I know you're busy. Thank you, as always, for the time, and we'll talk again soon, pal.
Thanks, Hacker. I enjoyed being with you, and go Jags.
Putting the fence in defense.
The ball comes out! The ball has come out!
Each week, Superior Fence and Rail presents the Defensive Player of the Game on 1010XL.
Rick Ballou for Coy Dental. That's right, Carlson Dental is now Coy Dental. Dr. Lee has been practicing there for 9 years, has purchased the company. The Coy Dental team still has the same great dentists and staff. And remember, if you get nervous visiting a dentist, don't. There's never a problem at Coy Dental, with light sedation for cleaning and deep sedation for all your restorative needs. Coy Dental, located in Bartram Park.
Home is where your story begins. And at Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing, we're here to make it the healthiest, most comfortable place it could be. Whether it's fresh, clean air, dependable plumbing, or reliable power, we take care of it all. From routine maintenance to state-of-the-art solutions, Donovan keeps your home running smoothly. Because at Donovan, we believe your home isn't just where you live, it's where your health meets comfort. Call Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing at 904-270-COOL or visit us online. Let's make your home healthier, safer, and better together.
This date in sports history is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On November 18, 1979, Richard Petty became the first to win the NASCAR Series Cup 7 times.
Hi, I'm John Haney from Clearwater Gutters and Drainage. After heavy rains, the problems are obvious. Mulch blown out of your beds, water standing around your foundation, and that fancy new crater back behind your bushes. Let Clearwater Seamless Gutters help you solve the problem spots.
Clearwater Seamless Gutters. We can't sing a lick, but we sure are good at gutters.
And drainage, too.
Find out more at clearwaterjacks.com.
1010XL brings the swamp to the first coast.
Guns it for the end zone. Intercepted!
Rocky Top makes a stop in the swamp.
Touchdown Gators!
Florida, Tennessee, Saturday at 7:30 on Jacksonville's home of Florida Gators football. 1010XL.
This is the event people wait for all year. Beard's Diamonds Anniversary Sale is here. As the town center's only locally owned jeweler, Beard celebrates 44 years in Jacksonville with huge store-wide savings. That's right, you save up to 44%. Rings, earrings, bracelets, bands. Buy now and get as much as 44% off Beard's already amazing prices. Check out our new selection of amazing diamond necklaces with both natural or lab-grown diamonds. Or see our selection of the hottest yellow gold fashion jewelry starting at under $300. And if you're getting engaged before year end, you can get the ring of her dreams and save like never before at Beard's. Beard's Diamonds, because we're local, we can run circles around those corporate chain stores with better selection, better prices, better service, and better quality. Don't settle for chain store jewelry. Get her the best at Beard's. Don't miss Beard's Diamonds Anniversary Sale up to 44% off store-wide. Beard's Diamonds in the St. John's Town Center. Shop local, shop Beard's.
What's happening, beautiful people? It's your main man, E to the T here. And cool air, open trails, and that perfect Florida winter sunshine, woo! It's the season to get outside and explore Clay County. From Christmas parades and hometown festivals to holiday markets and local theater shows, holiday magic is lighting up every corner of Clay County. Get outside, get moving, and get active. Come see everything happening this season at exploreclay.com. That's exploreclay.com.
Remember your first magnificent cigar? Yeah, neither do we. But here's your chance to make the next great memory with an extraordinary A.J. Fernandez cigar. Join us at Tobacco Cove, 3849 Bay Meadows Road on November 22nd from 1 to 4 p.m. for outstanding food, awesome prizes, and incredible deals on A.J. Fernandez cigars. Tobacco Cove, 3849 Bay Meadows Road. It's more than a cigar store, it's an experience.
The flagship station of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Frank Frangie here for Stanley Pools. If you're dreaming of putting in a pool this year, choosing the right company is the most important decision you'll make. I've trusted Stanley Pools to build my pool, renovate my pool, and maintain my pool. Stanley Pools has been the best in the business since 1988, and they're still family owned. Call them today at 904-269-7277 or find them online at StanleyPoolsFL.com. That's Stanley Pools, a family tradition of fine swimming pools.
Florida Gators football on 1010XL is driven by Randy Marion Cadillac of Jacksonville, Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors, and the law firm of Farah and Farah. Get Gators play-by-play on 1010XL.
Just when you thought we couldn't bring you more, Keon Atlantic is here with a brand new store. We have the same great team to treat you well, with new savings during our grand opening sale. Keon Atlantic is here with the new store. Shop our best offers and largest selection yet. Save big during our grand opening sale. Is there something for everyone on our lot? You bet. If you're ready to experience something new, the all-new Keon Atlantic is ready for you. Your perfect ride is a visit away. Online at KeonAtlantic.com. Keon Atlantic, your coastal Kia connection.
Brian and Angela Wall here with Window World.
Hurricanes happen in Florida. That's not news. But what happens even more often than hurricanes are home break-ins. And if security is important to you, you might want to look into hurricane-rated impact windows.
What you may not know is that hurricane-rated impact windows not only help protect your home in case of a hurricane, but they also offer another level of security for your home.
Have you seen those videos on YouTube that show people trying to break through an impact window? A thief is way too lazy to spend his energy trying to break through one of our impact windows. That's why he doesn't have a real job like you. He'd rather break your non-impact window while you're at work. Window World has high-quality, very affordable hurricane-rated impact windows to help protect your home from hurricanes and from lazy thieves.
Call us today at 904-443-7001. Get a free estimate and see for yourself. You save energy, get more security, and the windows add value to your home. With all Window World windows, you get the best guarantee in the window replacement business.
Window World, simply the best for less. And thank you for your business.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Halftime, Hacker After Dark, 1 hour down, 1 hour to go. We'll take you up till 10 o'clock as we do every night right here on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM. Coming up in the 9 o'clock hour, towards the bottom of the 9 o'clock hour, Gerald Ingram, 18 years, is a running back coach in the National Football League. You hear him every week with myself and Leon Searcy Sundays on the fifth quarter. We'll talk Jaguars. We'll look ahead to the Cardinals with Gerald Ingram. That comes up towards the bottom of the hour. Coming up in about 15 minutes, I call him the College Football Encyclopedia. My friend Mike Huguenin has covered the world of college football for years. We'll talk about Lane Kiffin and the Florida situation. We'll branch out into Mike Norvell's status with Florida State. They have 2 road games left, at NC State and then at Florida. Does it matter what Mike Norvell does in these last 2 games, or has a decision one way or the other already been made? So we'll do all that with the College Football Encyclopedia, Mike Huguenin. That comes up in less than 15 minutes. Speaking of college football, the third week of the playoff rankings have come out within the hour. Again, like we talk about every week, do these rankings mean anything? No. But they do it for guys like me and Denmark who have sports shows or whatever to talk about said rankings because they're of interest to people. So they put it out there. We'll give it to you. You do with it what you see fit. The top 3 remain the same. Ohio State 1, Indiana 2, Texas A&M 3. Denmark, I think with Indiana in particular and maybe Ohio State, we're getting to the point now where the hay is in the barn. Indiana is going to be in the college football playoff. They're 11-0. I can't see a scenario, even if they lose back-to-back games, where they would fall out of the top 12. I think you're getting awfully close to that with Ohio State. A&M is 10-0. I think you're getting borderline close to that with them, too. Do you see a scenario where any of those top 3 do not make the playoff?
No, and Indiana has they only got 1 game left.
Right.
They only play Purdue, so they're 11-0.
I mean, hypothetically, I don't even know who A&M plays this week, but just appease me for a moment. If A&M were to lose the last 2, would they drop 9 spots? I just don't imagine they would.
Well, they play Sanford Saturday.
Okay, well they're gonna be 11-0. So then it doesn't. Yeah. So A&M's in. So I think Ohio State, Indiana, and A&M are in. Is Georgia in? Regardless of what happens, or do they need – they're going to beat Charlotte. Then they have Georgia Tech and potentially the SEC championship game. Is Georgia in with a win Saturday over Charlotte?
Yes.
All right, I agree with that. Texas Tech?
Yes.
They're probably getting close to it too. Where is the cutoff? Ole Miss. Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss. They're 10-1. They have 1 game in the regular season left against Mississippi State, the Egg Bowl, on the 28th of November. Regardless of the outcome of that game, is Ole Miss in?
They're in.
All right. Oregon at number 7 tonight. Is Oregon in regardless of what happens?
Sounds
like you might be hitting your cutoff here.
Where because they're not going to play in the Big Ten title because that's going to be
Indiana and Ohio State.
Right. Okay, so Oregon plays USC and Washington. Yeah, Oregon could lose those last two and they're out.
They're probably out. Oklahoma's win over Alabama was gigantic. I think Oklahoma still has to do some stuff, but Oklahoma certainly the betting favorite to make it. Again, another week, Notre Dame has 2 losses. Miami has 2 losses. Miami beat Notre Dame head-to-head, yet Notre Dame is 9th and Miami is 13th. Do we have a problem with that?
I think a lot of people do. Miami's got more ranked wins. I think Miami's got 3 ranked wins. Notre Dame has 1. Notre Dame lost to A&M, which is kind of holding on pretty strong for them. And Miami's got 2 bad losses, 1 to Louisville. And who was the other one too again? It's escaping my mind.
Miami lost to SMU.
Yeah. So, and SMU is not ranked. So the committee is holding that against them.
Again, if you have the same number of losses and you played head-to-head and Team A beat Team B, I'm sorry, man. Head-to-head is supposed to mean something. I got a problem with Notre Dame being 3 spots higher, heck, 4 spots higher than Miami when Miami beat them head-to-head. So rounding it out, Notre Dame 9, Alabama 10 after their loss to Oklahoma, BYU 11, Utah 12, Miami 13. There's Vanderbilt, Diego Pavia, Vanderbilt 14, and Southern Cal very quietly moving up. They are number 15 as the rankings have been released tonight. Again, 2 weeks to go in the regular season. Then you have championship Saturday, and then we'll know in 3 weeks' time who the 12 teams will be in the college football playoff. Back into the Jacksonville Jaguars coming up towards the bottom of the hour with the coach Gerald Ingram. Coming up next, let's get into the world of college football. Let's talk Lane Kiffin. Let's talk the Gator coaching search. If not Lane Kiffin, then who would Florida turn to? And let's talk about Florida State and Mike Norvell. What is his status with 2 weeks to go in the regular season? I call him the college football encyclopedia. My buddy Mike Huguenin, he's been covering the game for years. He joins me next on a Tuesday night here in Northeast Florida. We're glad you're with us. It's Hacker After Dark.
Speed.
45-50.
Talent.
How high can you leap?
Opportunity.
Just when they needed it most.
Listen for the Universal Roof and Contracting Offensive Player of the Game. Experience the universal difference on 1010XL.
Lauren Brooks here for Terminix. When mice and rats show up in your home or business, they can be a real pain. You need them out fast, before they have time to multiply. Terminix knows how to shut down rodents and will keep them from coming back to wreak more havoc. When rodents show up, so does Terminix. Don't live with a rodent problem, Terminix it. Visit Terminix.com today to schedule a free inspection online just like I did. That's TERMINIX.com. TERMINIX.com.
The best value for golf in Jacksonville remains Cimarron, totally reestablished with new tee boxes, improved fairways and greens, also a brand new restaurant with indoor and outdoor settings, and live music. Join the Wild One loyalty program online at Cimarron Golf. When's the last time you played Cimarron? Cimarron Golf Club on 210, the Wild One.
Mike Dempsey for Apex Roofing and Contracting of Jacksonville Beach. If your roof's got any damage, if it leaks, if it's just old and ugly, call my friends at Apex Roofing. But Mike, roofs are so expensive. It's true, quality roofing is not cheap, but Apex Roofing has up to 100% financing available, so you don't have to compromise quality for budget. Apex Roofing, no shortcuts, no stress, just quality work with financing available. Reach for the peak with Apex Roofing and Contracting in Jacksonville Beach. ApexRoofingFL.com.
I open the door and take you inside the locker room to get you closer to the field, the players and coaches you care about.
Get a look at Hayes' blog on 1010XL.com.
My blog is brought to you by Roland Reese Plumbing,
where quality and experience count.
Baloo here for Smoonez Vision. Why Smoonez Vision? Well, I've been with Dr. Neil Smoonez now since I got back to Jacksonville in 2006. 37 years of experience he has. Smoonez Vision is a family organization that focuses on personal high-quality medical and surgical eye care. Dr. Catherine Smoonez is fellowship-trained in cornea and cataract surgery and all refractive surgery. Combined, that's 30 years plus in laser eye surgery. Visit SmoonezVision.com today. Here you can see.
Hello, First Coast. I'm sure by now you have seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We're an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We're committed to customer service, reliability, and have an unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today. From GFL, Green for Life.
Here's your 1010XL First Coast Community Calendar.
Dreams Come True is the only local wish granting organization giving dreams and special times to local children battling life-threatening illnesses. Find out how you can help at dreamscometrue.org.
City Rescue Mission provides life-changing support for the homeless. Find ways to get involved at crmjax.org.
Her Song is a nonprofit organization that breaks the cycle of human trafficking through survivor care, victim outreach, and education. Find out how you can help at hersong.org.
If you could benefit from a grief and loss support group, call Haven Hospice at 279-1677.
The 5-Star Veteran Center of Jacksonville is the place homeless veterans can go to recover, recharge, retrain, and reconnect. Learn more at 5starveterancenter.org.
If you're involved in a community event and you'd like us to help spread the word, find out how at 1010XL.com.
Which school won the first NCAA men's basketball championship?
When your homeowner's insurance policy is up for renewal, it's a good idea to shop around to find a better plan. Southern Oak Insurance for over 20 years provides Floridians a clear option. SouthernOak.com.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
The Oregon Ducks won the first NCAA men's basketball championship in 1939. They defeated the Ohio State Buckeyes.
Southern Oak Insurance, our family protecting yours.
Come to Monahan Jewelers' 48th annual holiday sale now with up to 30% off on GIA certified diamonds and up to 40% off our entire store. Certified diamonds, gemstones, engagement rings, diamond studs, designer brands. We're not a big box store. We're your local family jeweler with an amazing hand-picked inventory for every budget. And with interest-free financing, enjoy beautiful jewelry with a low monthly payment. Support your local family jeweler this Christmas with up to 40% off our entire inventory. Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach open 7 days a week in December.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focused, fueled, fearless, Farah. Now, another great guest on the Checkmate Coatings phone line. Hello. Your floor's missing piece.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. Florida, Tennessee, Saturday night, 7:30. You'll hear the game right here on 1010XL. For some reason, the 3-7 Florida Gators are on national television this weekend. I guess we'll talk a little bit about the game, but certainly the big story is the soap opera that is turning in to this Lane Kiffin situation between Oxford, Florida, maybe sprinkle in a little Baton Rouge as well. And then Florida State goes out and wins the football game last week. What does that mean for Mike Norvell moving forward? There's a lot to get into with that. Let's go to my buddy Mike Huguenin. The man has covered college football for years. I call him the college football encyclopedia. And Mike is always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Mike, how you doing, man?
I'm doing quite well. Just a little bit despondent that we're already at week 13 of the college season, which means only 2 regular season weekends left.
Yeah, it goes quick. It seems to go quicker every single year. But at least for Florida, they've got a full-blown soap opera on their hands. I know my mom back in the day was As the World Turns and Guiding Light. I don't know what we would call this Lane Kiffin situation, but whether it's Oxford, Gainesville, maybe a sprinkling in of Baton Rouge. Mike, we'll break off into individual topics about Kiffin in a moment, but from a mile-high view, what do you make of what this is turning into?
Well, I think what it's turning into is that Lane Kiffin is going to be the highest-paid coach in college football history when all is said and done. It's obvious that he is the number one candidate for Florida. You got boosters on social media, boosters who spend money on social media saying that he is the guy. Ole Miss obviously doing whatever it can to keep him. You got some media folks saying, why would he leave? You got other media folks saying, of course he would leave. The interesting thing to me is this seems like it's at least publicly, it's a Lane Kiffin or bust scenario for Florida. Obviously, they've vetted other candidates, but I'll be honest, you talk to a bunch of people, and everybody has, nope, the number two guy is this guy. Then you talk to somebody else, no, the number two guy would be this guy. He's the number three. It's wild, but it's obvious that Florida has zeroed in on Kiffin. His ex-wife is John Reeves' daughter. John Reeves, obviously one of the greatest Florida quarterbacks ever. She grew up in Florida, so there is some Florida connection there. The whole scenario, you're right, it is the soap opera aspect of this. It's gigantic for both Ole Miss fans and Florida fans.
All right, let's dive into individual branches from this. First and foremost, Mike, do you believe this is an Ole Miss Florida situation, or is LSU still involved here with Kiffin?
I think LSU is involved, but I don't think he's going to. I think next year he'll either be in Oxford or Gainesville. I do not think he will be in Baton Rouge. Obviously, LSU is looking for a coach, willing to spend some money, though I would argue that given to talk about a soap opera, good Lord, the LSU coaching situation is a separate soap opera itself. You got the governor involved, the new school president, a new AD. You had the governor saying we're not going to give those kind of contracts anymore. So all that makes me think that LSU will not break the bank to hire a new coach, and it would require breaking the bank to sign Kiffin. So I think Kiffin is going to be in either Oxford or Gainesville.
Mike Huguenin has covered the world of college football for years. He's with us here on 1010XL in Jacksonville. All right, the most simple question, and a question that is beginning to be asked more and more in Oxford, Mississippi, is simply this. If Lane Kiffin wants to remain in Oxford, Mississippi, he could end all of this by agreeing to an extension or saying he's going to be here at a press conference or going on social media, which he loves to do, and saying he's going to be with Ole Miss. Yet he has chosen not to do that. How concerned should that make Ole Miss fans right now?
Yeah, I think that's the reason Florida fans feel confident, and Ole Miss fans are a might bit uneasy, to be sarcastic there. I think that, I don't think there's any doubt but that if Kiffin wanted to stay in Oxford or was leaning towards staying in Oxford or whatever, he would say, I have a contract. I'm going to sign it. I'm going to stay in Oxford for the foreseeable future. I love it here, blah, blah, blah. He has not done that. You're right. He is a social media troller to the nth degree. He's still doing a lot of that. He's still making a lot of allusions with an A to the Florida job and some of the stuff he says at news conferences. But you're right. I think if he had decided he was staying at Ole Miss, he would have already signed the extension and said, I'm staying here. So I think the longer it goes without that happening, the more likely it is he does go to Florida. Is Ole Miss a better team? Of course. Is the Ole Miss ceiling as high as Florida's? No, it's not. And yes, this is the NIL player transfer era. There still, though, is something to be said for having a huge number of recruits near your campus. There are a hell of a lot more high-level recruits in Florida than there are in Mississippi. And I don't think anybody would be offended by this. A lot of good players in Mississippi are not academically adept enough to go to college right away. That's why the Mississippi junior college football system is still such a big deal. But you look at Ohio State, you look at Georgia, you look at Texas A&M to an extent. Those are teams built with recruits, and then they add in other portal guys. And I think if you're Ole Miss, what Kiffin has done is gone in and basically replenished his roster every year with portal guys. I think if you're at a school like Florida, if you're like a school like Florida State, should be doing the same thing as Georgia and Ohio State do. You go out and you sign 8 to 10 transfers to fill 1 or 2 spots on your team, provide depth. You don't go out and sign 17 guys to be starters. And I think that's the big advantage for Florida. Nothing against the state of Mississippi, but Florida's got a lot of advantages over the state of Mississippi. One is a vastly, but this is not. I have sisters who are elementary school teachers. Florida is by no means a great state when it comes to academics, but it's miles ahead of Mississippi. So there's a lot of standard of living questions that all go in Florida's favor when compared to Mississippi.
A couple of more from Mike Hugan. And, the interesting thing now is, all right, it's all fun and games. You got Ole Miss fans, Florida fans, both passionately wanting Lane Kiffin. The more this goes on, the more I think Kiffin holds both schools hostage, because whoever he says no to is going to be behind the 8 ball. I mean, if he ends up coming to Florida, Ole Miss then, maybe misses out on a John Summerall or maybe misses out on whomever. Florida, kind of the same thing. At some point, this could turn south for Kiffin if he doesn't make a decision pretty quick here, right?
Yeah, I don't think it'll turn south for Kiffin. I think it could potentially turn south for Ole Miss or Florida. It's sort of like a game of chicken in some respects. Which school blinks first in a way. I mean, Ole Miss presumably has the contract extension on Kiffin's desk. We want you to sign this. We want you to sign this. But, of course, they're not going to run him off. They're going to the playoff. And Florida, again, the concern I would have as a Gator fan is, and the concern I'd have as an Ole Miss fan, if Kiffin is not our coach next year, who is? And that's why I think both schools want some kind of, I don't know if answer is the right word, but some kind of inkling by late November, early December. And when stuff starts happening then, I think you'll see both schools start to realize, oh, you're not coming here, or yes, he is coming here, whatever. But, presumably Keith Carter, the Ole Miss AD, and Scott Strickland, the Florida AD, have been doing their due diligence along with search firms and finding guys who could take the job. But, I think if you're a Florida fan especially, you're not exactly psyched that Strickland is involved in this coaching search, because outside of Todd Golden, his coaching hires have been all misses, frankly.
See, my thought is, and I hear this from a lot of Gator fans, well, you'd have to wait so long for Kiffin if he wins a playoff game. You're talking about, January 2026. And my response to that is, all right, obviously you'd have to have some sort of backdoor agreement with him. But who cares? I mean, if he's your guy, and obviously outside of Urban Meyer, you have not had your guy since Steve Spurrier was here over 2 decades ago. What is a couple of weeks? I don't see why that is such a big deal among Gator fans.
No, I agree. If Florida doesn't have a coach by mid-December, and Ole Miss is still waiting for an answer from Kiffin, I think that means that he does have some kind of deal with Florida. Just because it hasn't been publicly announced, that seems to be the if you're a Florida fan, oh my God, why hasn't this been announced yet? Well, why would it be? Ole Miss still got a game left. Florida's got 2 games left. It's partly obviously the I want the answer now. What have you done for me lately? That kind of mindset. But stuff doesn't work on fan base timeline. It works on legitimate football calendar timelines. And my presumption is that both schools will know what's going to be happening in the first couple of days of December.
Final moments with Mike Hugan. And Mike, quickly to Florida State. They beat Virginia Tech. They're 5-5. They got to get one more to get bowl eligible. At North Carolina State, at Florida. One would think they would probably get at least one of those 2. I don't know how much that even matters. Talking to Florida State fans after Saturday's game, some of them are not very happy that they beat Virginia Tech. They want this nonsense over with, and I think there is a legit concern among some that if Norvell wins out to finish 7-5 and go to a bowl game, that he'll be back in 2026.
Yeah, and that's another fan base that has a coach. Different situation than Ole Miss, obviously, but it's a fan base that has a coach that I don't think there's a lot of FSU fans who are too confident that Norvell can get them back to where they want to go. This was a transfer-heavy starting lineup. He's going to have to spend a ton of money in the portal again because they recruit abysmally from the high school ranks. They're talking about, maybe Castellanos gets another year of eligibility. Is that really a positive? Yeah. And again, I think the biggest concern is if you're FSU, okay, you were 2-10 last year, and let's say they go 6-6 this year. Wow, we improved by 4 wins. But does anybody really think that this guy and this staff is the right staff to get FSU back into the top 15, top 10 nationally? And I think the answer would be a resounding no. Yes, he did it once, but Norvell was an early adapter to the transfer portal. I think other coaches have caught up to him and far surpassed him. And I wonder if FSU. Well, we really can't afford to fire him. I guess the question would be, well, can you really afford to keep him, given that you're going to owe him heck of a lot of money. Plus, you're going to have to spend heavily in the portal again, and what's to stop them from going 5-7 next year? And the fan support and the apathy truly sets in. Then I think the fan base is apathetic now. I think sort of like the Florida fan base, but at least the Florida fan base has been energized by, hey, we're going to have a new coach. And I think if you look at FSU fans, it's like, oh, great, we could have this guy again. And I think that's emotionally draining for a fan.
All right, Mike, final question. We'll obviously have you back on numerous times between now and then, so we won't necessarily hold you to it, but I'm curious. On February 1st, 2026, give me the head coaches of the 4 SEC openings: Florida, Auburn, LSU, Arkansas.
Well, that's a tough one. I think Florida will be Kiffin.
You do think it'll be Kiffin?
Yes, I think it'll be Kiffin. I think Auburn will be John Sumrall. Arkansas and LSU, though, I have zero idea. I think that Sumrall would be a good fit at LSU, but I'll be honest, I'm not sure the LSU power brokers would be willing to hire the Tulane coach. I think they would think that was beneath them. And Arkansas is a weird situation. Two of the richest corporations in America are based in Arkansas: Tyson Foods and Walmart. But they don't seem to spend a heck of a lot of money, even though they're obviously Arkansas fans. Arkansas's NIL is not great. And the Arkansas coaching search is one that's truly interesting. I think there was a faction that actually wanted Petrino to succeed as the interim so they could just make him the full-time coach again, but obviously that has not worked out, and I think that's for the best. But and Jerry Jones is another guy who could, here's $20 million for a coach and his staff. But that's Arkansas and LSU right now are gigantic mysteries. I think Sumrall, though, will end up at Auburn.
The man is an absolute college football encyclopedia. He's been covering it for years. His name is Mike Hugan. And, Mike, I know you're busy. Thank you for the time, as always, and we'll talk again soon, pal.
Always enjoy it, man. Thanks.
It's a snapshot in time.
Unbelievable concentration.
But in the end, there's always a play that stood out.
And there's the biggest play of the day.
Listen for the performance painting high-performance play of the game on 1010XL.
Truth Teller here, and I've solved all of your holiday problems and stress. A gift card from the Blue Crab Crab House. Get this, you buy a $50 gift card, and you get an additional $15 card for free. It's that simple, and as always at the Blue Crab Crab House, the best crabs in Jacksonville, oysters and seafood, period. Blue Crab Crab House, open every day except for Monday, off of San Jose on Jewington Creek Road.
When it comes to glass, you don't want average. You want flawless. Duval Glass and Mirror has transformed homes and businesses across Jacksonville for over 35 years. Frameless showers that wow, mirrors cut exactly to your style, fogged or broken glass replaced, decorative tabletops, windows replaced or repaired to stand up to Florida storms. All backed by a 100% guarantee. Visit DuvalGlass.com for your free quote. There's only one name for glass and mirror around these parts. It's Duval.
I'm here with Danny Van Sickle, director of the Electrical Training Alliance. Danny, tell me about your program.
Hey, Rick. We're a 4-year electrical apprenticeship. Our students start out making over $40,000 a year and right now make over $90,000 a year, including benefits. There is no tuition or student debt. You just have to apply and get accepted.
Did you say no tuition and no student debt?
You heard that right, Rick. Once you're accepted to the program, your only cost for the books and the course fees. About $800 a year.
That sounds like an amazing opportunity. How can I learn more?
Just go to etajax.org and you can apply there.
Apply by May 14th.
This is Nylorn Stample, national champion and owner of NLS Cleaning. We're your exterior cleaning experts for pressure washing, gutters, windows, and paper sealing. This event season, get your home or business ready to go before guests arrive. NLS Cleaning, 708-8802.
Just when you thought we couldn't bring you more, Keon Atlantic is here with a brand new store. We have the same great team to treat you well, with new savings during our grand opening sale. Keon Atlantic is here with the new store. Shop our best offers and largest selection yet. Save big during our grand opening sale. Is there something for everyone on our lot? You bet. If you're ready to experience something new, the all-new Keon Atlantic is ready for you. Your perfect ride is a visit away. Online at KeonAtlantic.com. Keon Atlantic, your coastal Kia connection.
Custom home builders, fed up with your electrical and low voltage companies that ghost you mid-project, sparking delays? Unreliable subs and poor electrical work that derails your schedules? Denny Thompson here for Tyson Inc., experts in seamless electrical services for your custom builds. Pre-construction planning, integration, and installation. No hassle. Your homeowners will love the new Tyson showroom. Home builders team up with Tyson for your next home building project. TysonInc.com.
If you're tired of weekend projects turning into weekend disasters, you're not alone. Building a fence isn't as easy as it looks. And let's face it, your neighbor still hasn't fixed his lopsided masterpiece. But Superior Fence and Rail makes it easy. Highly trained professionals, top quality materials, and a fence you'll love for years to come. Skip the stress and call the pros today.
When you're on the fence, about a fence, SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
Hey, it's Matt Hayes, and this holiday season, Leonard Truck Outfitters and 1010XL are helping you deck the truck. Stop by either Leonard's location, Blanding Boulevard in Orange Park or Beach Boulevard in Jacksonville, and it'll take you 1 minute to enter. You can win a deck bed storage system with Cargo Glide, installed by the pros at Leonard. We'll draw the winner Friday, December 19 during XL Primetime, live from the Beach Boulevard store. Plus, you'll score Florida-Georgia basketball tickets and a Gator National Championship commemorative basketball. It's easy, it's fast, and you could win big. So head to Leonard Truck Outfitters today and deck the truck.
Why wait for a reason to send flowers? Celebrate life's little wins, or just celebrate you. Stop into the showroom on Beach and Southside, or online at JacksonvilleFlowerMarket.com. Jacksonville Flower Market. We make every day bloom.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still, present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch. Now, the cool down with Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Keeping Jack's cool since 1987.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. The Jaguars and the Cardinals, Sunday, 4 o'clock. Of course, you'll hear the game right here on 1010XL. The Jaguars coming off just an absolute demolishing of the Los Angeles Chargers. They now sit 6-4 on the year and have quite the opportunity because their next two games, the Cardinals and the Titans, have a combined record of 4-16 so far this season. A man you hear every Sunday with me on the fifth quarter is the coach, Gerald Ingram. 18 years as a running back coach in the National Football League, and Coach is always kind enough to join us here on Hacker After Dark. Coach, how we doing, pal?
Oh, it's a great morning. It's great to be a Jacksonville Jaguar.
Coach, you mentioned in an 18 years experience for you, you never know about the National Football League, and you told me that on the Sunday after the collapse in Houston. I think I, along with many other Jaguar fans, was pretty despondent at the time. And for 7 days after that collapse, for them to come back, play a good Charger team, and do that to that Charger team, Coach, I was very, very surprised. What were your thoughts?
Oh, I was surprised as well. But, I mean, it was, that's the NFL because some weeks you can feel like it's Halloween, which we should never play that again on Halloween. And then some days you feel like it's Christmas. But this was beyond, to have an ass whooping like that. I mean, that was a shocker to everybody. But, I mean, we hit on every phase. It's a coach's dream. It's a fan's dream. It's a Jaguar dream, and hopefully we learn from it. We're better from it, and hopefully we progress. We're in a regroup phase right now, and let's see if we can do it again.
You and I spoke about this on Sunday during the fifth quarter, but for the benefit of the Hacker After Dark audience, I think you and I are in agreement that Liam Cohen had his best play-calling game as a Jaguar. Coach, in your opinion, from a coach's eye, why was Liam Cohen so successful with that game plan?
Well, I think as a coach, when you look at when the game's over, normally as a coach, you're sitting in the locker, and no matter if you win or loss, and you're looking at your game plan sheet, and you want to make sure that you're not doubting yourself on what your calls were, the situations, and we got a chance to see. I think he was able to hit on so many different plays and the creativity, the game planning. There were so many things that happened yesterday that you actually saw the week of, handling the goals, the obstacles, the solution, and how it unfolded. And as a coach, you got to implement with confidence what you believed in, and your players executed as well as you could ask them to do. So it was a great feeling for a coach.
The coach, Gerald Ingram, with us here on Hacker After Dark. Trevor Lawrence, he had the Trevor Lawrence experience, right? We always know he's going to do one or two things that make you scratch your head, and that was the interception in the second quarter. But I got to tell you, Coach, after that interception, I thought Trevor might have had his best quarter as a Jaguar in 2025. That third quarter on Sunday was a really, really good quarter for Trevor Lawrence.
I mean, when you think of the drives and the sustainment of the drives that occurred in that third quarter, it didn't get any better than that. And I thought, the resolve for him was he needed it, the team needed it, and he moved forward from that mistake.
You look at the running game, too. The Jaguar running game in the first month of the year was one of the best in football. Clearly, it had taken a step back in the last month. But, boy, that Charger defense had no answers. I think the Jaguars ran the ball 47 times, just absolutely running it down their throat. ETN and Base-Shell Tootin, a great 1-2 combo. And the offensive line was opening gaping holes against that Charger defense.
I mean, definitely everybody in that front line, everybody deserved the game ball, but that front offensive line responded from, how they had played the last few weeks, the inconsistency, but last week especially, and failure to do your technique and not really show who you are, and to man up and understand how we're going to have to win. And we're going to have to win up front, offensively and defensively, but hats off to the offensive line to be able to clear the holes for the running back.
Couple of more for the coach, Gerald Ingram. You get him every week here on Hacker After Dark. Coach, Jacoby Myers has been in Jacksonville less than 2 weeks, and he led the team in receiving yardage and receptions on Sunday in the win over the Chargers. Some huge catches, including that big 3rd and 12 in the third quarter. I believe he finished with 5 catches for 64 yards. What does it say about a guy like Jacoby Myers that can be here all of 10 days and have that big an impact for this offense?
Well, I think what he brings to the table is professionalism and maturity into that meeting room of the receivers and understanding, because it's one thing to be a coach and a coach that's also a former player, and Edgar is a former running back, coaching wide receivers, but he has somebody in the room with him that understands that no matter what team you go to in the NFL, because you can't control that, what you can do is bring your professionalism, your conceptualism, and understand that you have to produce every single week, but you have to stay focused every single play. It's not an up and down situation, and how you bring yourself every day, you might survive in this league. Plus, he had already been at the New England Patriots and Tom Brady. He had surrounded himself around good quality upbringing. So it's the best, it's the best pick for that meeting room right now, which is great for us.
We've raved about the offense. Let's turn our attention to the defense. They were as guilty, if not more, for that collapse in Houston, and they were challenged this week. I'm sure both internally in that building and outside that building, there were a lot of doubters about the defense. And this was Justin Herbert coming in. This was Ladd McConkey. This was, Keenan Allen and Quentin Johnston. I mean, Herbert was in the MVP conversation prior to Sunday, and the Chargers had no answers for the Jaguar defense. They got after Herbert. They stopped the running game. Ladd McConkey was basically a non-factor. I mean, Coach, I thought it was absolutely the most impressive defensive outing of the year.
Yes, it was, because, and it was much needed. But what they did is what Liam said was, from beginning to end, they put that foot on the throat, and it was a shocker to their defense and their offense. And, they have the same injury issues that we have to a certain degree in different locations. But still, they've had those injuries and been able to fight and win. But it was a huge shocker for them to have that foot on the throat from beginning to end, and it was a nonstop deal.
Final moments with the coach, Gerald Ingram. I want to get to Arizona coming up in a moment, Coach. Final thought about last Sunday. Joshua Hines-Allen breaks the all-time sack record of Tony Bracken's. He's now sacked the quarterback more than anybody in a Jaguar uniform. You were obviously on the staff here with Tom Coughlin when Tony Bracken's was doing his thing. Two-part question, just kind of your emotions to see Hines-Allen break that sack record, and for Hines-Allen to respond, because there was some criticism on him coming into Sunday versus L.A., and again, I thought he had his best game of the year.
He definitely had his best game, and, hats off to him. Congratulations. It's a great feat to be able to do. It's, to surpass the type of player that Tony Bracken's, was and is, and the quality person that Tony is. And I'm a fan of Josh as well. He's a hardworking guy, his efforts, but it hasn't been good enough up to date. And this was good to see. He needed this. The team needed this. And I'm happy for him for one day. And this is the NFL. It's, the accolades are great, but play on a every week basis and help the team win is the most important thing that you could ever do.
All right, Coach, here we go again. They responded to adversity unbelievably well. Now they're going to be given their flowers all week, and they go play the lowly Cardinals, who are 3-7, coming off getting destroyed by San Francisco on Sunday. And we've seen this song and dance before, right? The Jaguars, Liam Cohen even said it on Sunday. They play best when they're, quote, pissed off. So I don't know how you can get mad about a 35-6 demolishing of your opponent, but maybe they need to find a way to make themselves mad so they can keep that same intensity heading out to the desert on Sunday.
Well, I think any pro player would tell you that these kind of games don't happen all the time. But what can happen every week is how you bring, what you bring to the table every week consistently. So that would be the selling pattern this week is, can you do it again? And then can you do it again? Because your name, your name is all you have in life. And if you don't do it again, people will forget what you did this past weekend. So, it's kind of like in the NFL, you have to remember it's like you have 10 kids at the table and somebody outside is trying to take the food off your table. And you're fighting for every crumb you can. So if they understand how pissed off you would be as somebody coming in trying to take off your table, food off your table every week, that's got to piss you off. And that's how you have to play in the NFL every week for the respectability of your legacy for this year, not next year, not in the past, the next game. And let's find a way to, be ready for the next team, respond to it, and then regroup again.
Coach, it's an interesting dynamic, too, because, look, the Jaguars in team history, 30-plus years, had only won 4 games in the Pacific time zone coming into 2025. They already went out to San Francisco and won. They went out to Las Vegas and won. Now they're going back out there a third time, a third West Coast trip to Arizona to play the Cardinals. That certainly doesn't happen very often. Will there be challenges heading out there for a third time in the last 7-8 weeks?
Well, the mental challenge is more important than the physical a lot of times, because you never know how far you can push yourself, and that's what coaching is. And they've got to do a great job of coaching these men this week and understanding that, this is a challenge, another challenge that people don't think you can do. It's another challenge that people think that, that was a one-game deal and you can't do it again. It's a challenge to say that, you're not good enough to make it to the dance, okay? So there are a lot of challenge and things to have proven the naysayers, and it's got to mean something to you. So let's see how well of a good, great coaching job that they can do. And as well as not just the coaching, is the leadership of this team. So let's see what kind of leaders we have, and it can be done. I've been there before. We played Seattle, we played San Fran, and we played Oakland, and we had to do the same thing. We went out there and won all 3. But it is a challenge, and it's a mental challenge.
Coach, final question. We got about 60 seconds. Everything's right here, man. They're 6-4. Your next 2 games are on the road, but they're against 2 teams that have combined for only 4 wins out of 20 games in 2025. I mean, if you would have told Jaguar fans 6-4 playing Arizona and Tennessee around Thanksgiving, everybody listening right now would have taken that. It is all right in front of the Jaguars.
Oh, it's definitely. I mean, they can write their own ticket. The carpet ride is right there. They just got to prove themselves every week. I mean, if you aren't excited at this point in time of the year and build up to your opportunities, it wasn't meant to be. It really isn't. You just don't have enough quality players mentally to believe in it. So, they've got everything in front of them. Don't play down to certain teams. Play up to your own ability and handle your own business.
The coach, Gerald Ingram, you'll get him on Sunday, 2 hours after the Jaguars and the Cardinals go final, with myself and the Pro Bowler Leon Searcy right here on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM. Coach, thank you as always. Have a terrific week, and I will see you Sunday night, my friend.
See you then. Go Jags.
And thank you to the coach, Gerald Ingram, for joining us tonight here on Hacker After Dark. Again, you hear the coach every Sunday with me and the Pro Bowler Leon Searcy on the 5th quarter. Always appreciate getting the coach's perspective, and what a perspective it was. What a game it was for the Jacksonville Jaguars on Sunday, absolutely destroying the Los Angeles Chargers. We will now turn the page. I'll be down at the Miller Electric Center tomorrow inside the Jaguar locker room as they get ready to head out west for the 3rd time this year. They already have wins over San Francisco and Las Vegas on the road. They will now head to the desert to take on the Arizona Cardinals, and I'll be in the locker room tomorrow, bring you some one-on-one conversations that you will hear both tomorrow and Thursday night right here on Hacker After Dark. Certainly spent a lot of time on that. Also spent a lot of time on the soap opera that is Lane Kiffin. It's his world, and we're all just living in it right now. If you're in Oxford, Gainesville, or Baton Rouge, we will see what happens, but it is a wild situation involving Lane Kiffin and where he will end up coaching beginning in 2026. Well, that will just about do it, man. Very, very busy Tuesday night edition of Hacker After Dark. We certainly appreciate you guys hanging out with us here on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM. We have a ton of people to thank. We did double coaches tonight. Gerald Ingram, 18 years as a running back coach in the NFL. Also, Mark Duffner, 50 years coaching experience both collegiately and in the National Football League. Appreciate Coach Ingram and Coach Duffner for both joining me tonight here on Hacker After Dark. We did go out to Oxford, Mississippi. My guy when it comes to the Ole Miss Rebels is Brad Logan. He is the host in the Believe in Ole Miss podcast. He's also a contributor to On 3. And to get their perspective, boots on the ground in Oxford, of all